Big one was where governments actually really panicked. They found out Zoom was transferring or routing some of their data through Chinese data centers.
Okay, so Zoom has a lot of cybersecurity challenges. We've heard a lot about the Zoom bombing, so random people joining Zoom chat rooms. But with all of these different governments, like the Taiwanese government, the Canadian government banning the use of Zoom, and then companies as well, like Google banning the use of Zoom for their employees, there's more to the security challenges for Zoom than just Zoom bombing, right?
Yeah. There's actually quite a few. So the first one, the big one, was where governments actually really panicked. They found out Zoom was transferring or routing some of their data through Chinese data centers. So that is like a serious no-no from a data residency laws and policy standpoint, right?
Yeah.
That was a big one. The next one is Zoom advertised that they have end-to-end encryption. Mm-hmm. So what that means is when two people are interacting, right? There are two users interacting. You have a certificate. You encrypt your data with that certificate, pass it across the internet. The other person will also have the key or the key certificate for the data. They will decrypt it and then they will consume that data. So that's what encryption means, right? But in this case, the certificate is with Zoom also. So what that means is Zoom holds the certificate and technically they can intercept that encrypted data, decrypt it, and consume it. That's not really end-to-end encryption, right? Those two were pretty bad. And the third one was the Zoom, the platform itself was built using Facebook's SDK. So what was happening was because it was built on that particular SDK, it was still sending data over to Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So combined with these three things, those are major security vulnerabilities, right? So that's why governments and a lot of organizations were quick to outright ban Zoom. And there's also, I think there's investigation, there's an FBI investigation, and also Congress is looking at it.
Wow. So if I'm going to think about in kind of more layman's terms, say I've got a lockbox and I give you a copy of the key. We both agree that we're going to use this key. I'm going to put something in the lockbox. I'm going to send it to you and I'm going to lock it on my end and then send it to you. And then you can use the key to unlock it. But in this case, what you're saying is Zoom actually holds the keys. Neither of us hold the keys. So in the middle of me transporting that lockbox to you, Zoom can actually use the keys to lock and unlock and look at what's inside and combine.
Exactly.
And then combined with routing that through China, then people who have access to those servers in China can actually go in and look at the data.
Yeah. Think about espionage, IP theft, all kinds of possibilities you can think about, right? Like this is a big no-no for governments and organizations.
Yeah, state secrets, trade secrets, all of those things are in jeopardy because you don't control the security of that connection. It's completely under Zoom's control in this scenario. Now, even with other collaboration tools, there are other tools, Hangouts by Google, there's WebEx, there's Teams. Those ones are more secure in terms of their end-to-end encryption. But there's also like kind of security hygiene practices that we can all make sure that we do when we're using these tools, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Zoom bombing is a combination of both bad security hygiene and also Zoom not properly enforcing those security policies, like defaults, like things like meeting IDs. They were basically, it was Eugene's meeting room or something like that. So that is just so easy to find out, like all those meeting URLs that are open in the public, right? Next, they did not default password setup. So that means once you know what the meeting ID is, you can pretty much go into any meeting, right? And then that's what happened in schools and in office meetings and things like that. And there was no waiting room where there will people be waiting and then someone will let them into the meeting, right? So those things were not set up by default. The other collaboration tools usually have those features by default. They also have randomized meeting IDs, but Zoom did not have those defaults in place.
Right. So then they can actually make educated guesses about what your room ID might be, or they could even use brute force to
Ward
kind of
Island,
try to find your ID. And then when they actually get in, because most people don't have that set up, they're not going to go in and play with the security settings. All I care about is that my Zoom meeting works, right? I can actually hold a meeting. And these are some of the trade-offs that you make when you use kind of a convenient tool that's easy for people to join. Well, the consequences that it's also easy for strangers and intruders to join as well.